Hello everyone, my name is Christian. Welcome back to Tekpon. Today our guest is Tiago, the CTO and co-founder at Probably. Hello.
Hello, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Please tell us what your company does.
So, Probably is a web application security scanner. It tests web applications and APIs for vulnerabilities, for security problems. The goal is to automate the detection and help the developers in their development process.
Okay, what do you say is the biggest problem that you solve for companies?
I think the biggest problem is scale. So it's impossible to test all the applications a company owns because they have so many companies, HR application, holidays, book meeting rooms, customer-facing portals. And normally the way to test them for security problems is to hire someone or hire a pen tester. But that requires direct manual labor. So it's really time-consuming, really expensive. So basically our tool doesn't completely replace the pen tests, but it gives a complement and allows companies, in some cases, not to even bypass completely pen tests on lower risk applications and allow pen testers to focus on high risk stuff. So basically, we can give the company ability to scan and test applications at scale, hundreds of applications at the same time, for instance.
That's great. And what are the use cases of the product?
So, based on our customer base and also on our experience on what led us to build Probably, there are two main paths. One is if you are a security professional, you are in charge of the security of your company, and basically you have dozens, hundreds of developers asking you, please test my application before releasing to production. And you cannot do it manually. You just cannot scale. So one way is you can use Probably as a security professional to automate a lot of your work, either by you automating the scans or offloading those scans to the developer by giving the developer a tool like Probably and say, look, reach out to me only when the tests pass on Probably. So that's one use case. And the other is directly be used directly by the developer. So you might not have a security team in-house, or you are simply a developer that are security conscious and you want to test for security problems. So you run Probably. Probably was built with the developers in mind, so it's easy to use, doesn't require security expertise. So those are the two big use cases.
Thank you for sharing. And what is the pricing for the tool?
Well, the pricing varies. The first variable is the number of applications or domains or sites. So for each domain, you can start paying as little as around $100 per month for unlimited scans. But it can go higher, including to annual pricing if you go for enterprise features like scanning internal applications, using role-based access control. But we do have a free version and it's free forever. It's just limited on the number of scans you can do, but it's free. You can test for all the security problems like a paid customer can.
Okay, that's awesome, and I think it's really helpful. How competitive is your space, and how do you differentiate from the rest?
It's a very competitive space. There's a lot of competitors. Some have been around for some years, but they've been lagging on innovation and quality. And a few other competitors appeared that focus on faster scanning, better quality, more iterations. So that's actually a tough question, how we differentiate in such a crowded space. And there is no simple answer. It's because of this feature. It's a set of features. So our coverage is by far the best in the space. So, and by coverage, I mean we find what needs to be tested. So, and you cannot test if you cannot identify the URLs. And then it's a mix of things. So we produce high quality results with a very low false positive rate. We might still be a little bit behind on integrations, but overall, in terms of the scanning coverage and scanning quality, that's definitely one of our strongest points.
I appreciate the transparency. How about the company? When did you start it, and what is the story behind it?
So the company started in 2016. Me and my founders were all part of the security team of the largest telco operator in Portugal. And at that time, we had an issue. We couldn't scale. So we were a security team. We wanted to test everything, all the applications, but the developers were 10 times more than us, more than 10 times, and we just couldn't keep up. So we looked for something, a tool that could help us scan more, scan better, even pass the scan responsibility to developers. And there was nothing in the market. Everything required a strong security expertise and a lot of time to analyze false positives. And that's when we started thinking, we can do this. We can build a tool that matches these requirements. And eventually, multiple things happened. Like the previous company, our employee was acquired. We were challenged by a VC to come up with our own company, our own idea, and everything aligned. And here we are today.
Happy for you. How big is the overall team right now?
We are around 35 people right now, spread in multiple countries. So the majority of the team is in Portugal, because this was a company born before COVID. So when we used to go all to the office, everyone to the office.
Yeah.
But we now have a team in the US, which is our biggest market, and we have people a little bit scattered, like Spain, the Netherlands, Nigeria, Serbia. So a few countries, all within a short time zone, except for the US. But since it's our target market, we need to have people there.
Of course. And have you raised any funding?
Yeah, we closed last year our Series A. So when the company was born, it was born because of, I don't know exactly the nomenclature at this time or at that time, but let's call it angel investment or seed or pre-seed,
Yeah.
call it whatever you like.
Yep.
But eventually we got to our Series A last year. We are now working towards our Series B, aiming for next year.
And I guess you're confident that you found product market fit.
We do have already a significant number of customers, but to be honest, we are not 100% comfortable with our product market fit, because for us, a good product market fit means exponential growth. And we think there's still room to fine-tune the product,
Yep.
so we can go after that exponential growth. So there's definitely a fit. It's just not as perfect as we want.
Yeah. I appreciate it. You said it really well. And what was your biggest challenge since starting the company?
Well, as a whole, as a company, our biggest challenge is to get our name out there, especially in the context where there is so many competitors, a lot of competition. So battling against competitors that have been around for 10, 15 years, it's hard. That's definitely something that's a challenge. And on a more maybe personal or engineering level, since I'm the CTO, managing all the priorities, the constant shift of priorities, and redoing the roadmap depending on where the customers and the market goes, and also depending on the team, it's a huge challenge.
And how about one mistake that you did and you can share with us, or one key learning that you got since founding it?
Well, I did a few for sure. One I remember was maybe started hiring too late. So hiring takes a lot of time, and you always believe you can hold a little bit more without hiring someone to take to free your time. But once you hire that person and it frees your time, and you hire a good one, it's amazing because you can do so much more things. So delaying hiring or postponing because you don't have time to put the job listing or to go to the interviews, it's a mistake. So if you identify something or a position that needs to be hired, do it as soon as possible. But also raise the bar. So don't lower the bar if you don't get the right candidates. It's better to wait a little bit
Of course.
and keep searching so you can get the ideal candidates.
And this is easier said than done. It's actually harder to apply it.
Completely. When you sometimes are waiting for a few months to hire the right person, the pressure builds up to get stuff done, and you are tempted to hire someone a little bit with that doesn't fulfill the requirements or doesn't have the right energy or attitude. It's a mistake. You'll pay it later for sure.
You're right. And how did you get your first customers?
Our first customers were essentially through word of mouth, our network. So we've been in the security space in Portugal for some of us now for almost 20 years. So, and we were really involved in the security community in Portugal, organizing meetups, delivering talks. So we have a pretty good network of contacts of people in security roles, from small to bigger companies. And of course, the first thing we did was to talk to those persons, friends, colleagues, acquaintances, and show them our product. So, that's how we got our first customers.
And today, what do you say is your most successful go-to-market strategy that you use for getting new clients?
The most successful go-to-marketing strategy. That's a good question, especially because I'm not from
Right.
the market. But at some point, we focused our attention on enterprise customers. So instead of the SMB and smaller customers, the long tail, that was on purpose. On the beginning, focus on smaller customers, allow us to grow and not to be eaten alive by big enterprises. But when we switch the focus to bigger enterprises, that made a huge difference, especially because the tickets are different, but also the pressure, and it's a positive pressure, is good. So switching from maybe bottom up to top down, going after bigger companies, and using an approach of land and expand, like even getting smaller accounts, get your foot in the door, but once the customer gets happy with us, maybe they'll expand.
Okay, and what is the vision for the company, for the future of the company?
The vision is to be definitely the best security application scanner in the market, and being something that it can be used easily by any developer. So something that you can, as a developer, with half a dozen clicks, set up and be confident that your application is being properly tested for security issues.
I understand. So that's the big issue that you faced when you started the company, and now you want to...
Exactly. That was the driver, and we want to solve that problem for the future Tiagos.
Amazing. More on the personal side, please tell us your story and how you started your career.
Well, I had let's say, pretty standard path. So I finished my computer science degree, and I applied for an internship at a telco operator.
Okay.
In a security, the internship was for a security. It was for a developer in the security department. So I started as a developer but in a security context. So developing security scripts that would help the security department, and somehow, and then eventually I started focusing a little bit less on development and more on hardcore security, like actually identifying vulnerabilities. And this lasted for 3 or 4 or 5 years, I can't remember. And at one point, my employer did a partnership with a local university, actually my former university, and Carnegie Mellon in the United States. And basically, they made an offer we couldn't refuse. Anyone who applied, so do a master's in a dual degree master's in a Portuguese and a U.S. university, including spending a few months in the U.S. In the university,
Okay.
with the tuition paid and also the salary paid, and you didn't have to work. So for 1 year and a half, I got my salary. I got the tuitions paid, and I got to study in one of the two of the top universities, one in the US, one in Portugal, and I did my master's in computer security. There was where I met my current CEO, and basically it challenged me to change internally within our company. We created an application security team, and after a few years, that whole team left and basically founded Probably.
Wow, what a study! Congratulations! I think this is
Thank
an
you.
inspiration for all the youngsters. But please tell us, what's your best piece of advice for a starting founder? Let's say your advice to you yourself when you're 25 or right after
Ooh,
college.
it's hard. It's good to become a founder early because you have less pressure from house loan or kids. But on the other hand, if you are too young, you might not have the maturity to understand the markets and how managing a company what is needed. But one advice is, especially if you are a technical founder, do sign up for an acceleration program. Me and Nuno and also the other founders, we participated in more than one, I think, acceleration or incubation programs, and it was amazing because we are very technical founders, and until that time, we've never heard about things like CAC, cost of acquisition of a
Yes.
customer, or runway.
Yeah.
And that's really important because you might have the technical skills to build a product, but you need to know how to run the company until a certain point, until you can pass on that responsibility, and also to manage people. So do invest in those skills because they will be really important for you.
Great piece of advice. Thank you so much. I have one last question for you before we close down. What's your favorite SaaS product that you use?
Ooh, my favorite SaaS product. That's a hard question. Does email count?
I
I'm
guess
kidding.
you can.
I don't know. I have a heavy user of email, Google services, Slack. I don't know. This might be weird, but I do love those SaaS services that monitor web applications and pages for changes. Instead of you going after, did that application change? Did they publish something? Because sometimes sites don't publish that. They don't have a newsletter. They don't have a change log. So I love to have set up a few of those services, browsing the web every day, every week. Sometimes looking for a good discount, or if a product is already available. I don't know. Those really help me. It's a small detail, but I really take advantage of those.
Thank you very much. Is there anything else that you want to share today on the podcast?
No. It was awesome to be here. I'm really thankful for the invitation, and hope my podcast can help someone.
Absolutely. You did great. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Christian.